Hey athletes, coming at you today, not from my office, but from out in the woods of North Carolina because I like hiking. And I actually hiked into a spot, into a park, where I like to do some work sometimes because I just love being out in nature where it's very quiet and I can get a lot of really good work done. So one of the things I wanted to do is come at you today because I had an interesting conversation with my wife the other day and I wanted to share it with you because I thought it was interesting from the standpoint of how far I've come and looking back. And if anybody knows my story, if you've been watching me or following me for a while, you probably know that I am a cancer survivor. I got cancer when I was 29 and it was a really tough period of my life. I went 3 years trying to battle this thing and obviously everything turned out right because I'm here with you today. So, but when pre-cancer, I was probably, by most terms of the definition, most ways of defining alcoholism today, I was probably an alcoholic back then because I drank so much and I drank to excess where I threw up a lot. And I mean, it was a pretty kind of a mess. But what's kind of funny is I would also like go to the gym and like work out and like do stuff. So it was kind of a weird time in my life where I was not taking care of myself, but I was still like working out. Like, it was weird. So I had a friend, this was many years ago in my mid-20s, just out of college. And I had a friend who wanted to do a half marathon. And they're like, hey, you want to run this half marathon with me? And I'm like, yeah, sure, why not? So I did it. And it was when I had first met my wife. We were boyfriend, girlfriend at the time. And she showed up to cheer me on right at this thing. And I remember hitting the 10-mile mark. And I was so exhausted. I mean, like I hit the, marathoners call it the wall. I hit the wall. Like I slammed face first into it at the 10-mile mark. And you're probably like, if you're a runner, you're probably thinking like, wow, that's, you suck. And you're right. I did suck, especially then. So, and I was cold. I lived in Wisconsin at the time and I had these gloves on and I was so exhausted. And my friend was nice enough to run with me. What a great dude. But, so I had these gloves on and I was overheated and I was just a mess. And like I had taken the gloves off and I was running with them. I don't call it running. I was like taking steps. and I remember feeling so bad that my friend was like, do you want me to carry those gloves for you? And I'm like, yeah, carry my gloves. Like I was that freaking destroyed. Like I couldn't carry my own tiny little cloth gloves. It was that bad. And my wife saw me right around the 11-mile mark and was like, oh my God, like, is he going to die? Like jokingly, right? I looked just that awful. And then just yesterday, about a week ago, I got an invite to go run a Spartan race with my nephew. And I'm super excited about it. I'm in much better shape now than I was back then, even though I was working out back then. So if you don't take care of yourself on the other fronts, I don't care how much you work out, you can still be a disaster, which is exactly what I was. But so she said, well, you sure you're gonna be able to do that? I know how good of a runner you are. And I'm like, what do you mean by that? And I was kind of laughing. I'm like, what do you mean by that? And she's like, well, I remember that event and I'd forgotten about it. And she remembered me being a disaster after that time. And I just thought that was so funny. And I started laughing and I said, about 3 years ago, I did a Spartan race and it was a 10K, I think, 10 mile. And there's like 20. It's the same one I'm going to do now. It's the exact same one, same location, everything. And, so I said, it's funny that that's what you remember, because yeah, I was a disaster back then. I'm in a much better place now. Do you remember? And I asked her, I said, do you remember how I did at the last Spartan race? And she said, no, I have no idea, remind me. And I said, well, I showed up, didn't do any training, not specific training, no specific running training, nothing like that. I was doing a lot of CrossFit and weightlifting stuff, but, and I showed up just that day and I was experimenting with some things. I was playing with hydration levels a little bit where I didn't drink any water or whatever. So, cause I'm experimentalist by nature. I like to experiment with different things. So anyways, I show up and, I run the whole thing. My goal was to not stop running. So I ran the whole thing and, ended up getting can't remember, it was like 12th or 13th in my age group without any real formal training and never done a Spartan race before, and ran longer than I've ran in since that day, since I was like 25 or whatever, and got 12th or 13th in my age group and was like 120th overall out of like 5,000 people or something. It was like something insane. And I'm like, it was completely unexpected. Like, I didn't try, but the difference, I was tired, don't get me wrong, like I was exhausted, but I never felt like I felt back then. But, the point is, then I was 43 maybe. It's about 43 years old, 46 now. It's amazing how you can turn things around and how you can be so much better if you just put your mind to it and you just make some efforts. And the truth of the matter is, like, it doesn't have to be that complicated either. People, they see me and they think like my nutrition is perfect and that I work out every day, like at 5 hours a day. And it's just not the case, because I just can't. I can't do that. And you can, if we really come up with the systems and build a foundation, and the systems don't have to be complicated. In fact, they shouldn't be complicated. But if we can build a beautiful foundation, it's amazing how good you can look, how good you can feel, how well your body can perform. And really, at the end of the day, when I talk about those three things, it's the health of your body. And it's what I've been obsessed with, literally obsessed with, since my second diagnosis of cancer. If you can build a good foundation, and when you build that foundation, it becomes part of your life. It becomes who you are, right? When you create that identity, I call it the athlete identity, and it's what we chase down in the Athletic After 40 program. It's more than just nutrition, fitness, and sleep. Those are the big rocks, but we have to feed into that identity. We have to become that person. We have to really transition our thoughts, right, from wherever you are today, and really examine the habits and the beliefs and the thoughts that are in your head that put you in the position that you're standing here, that you're watching this video of me right now. And instead, thinking a little bit differently and coming up with some new strategies that are not overly complicated, that are not magic pill stuff, because that doesn't exist, but to become this new person. And that's exactly what I've done over the last 20 years is I've transitioned from this alcoholic, overweight, out of shape, even though I was going to the gym, person who's just with a lot of negativity, who is a disaster on so many fronts, into this, I'm going to call it athlete. And when you're over 40, athlete is someone who just values their health and well-being. That's it. It doesn't mean that you have to be an athlete in a sport. That's more the definition when you're maybe in your teens, right? Or in your 20s if you're a college athlete. But nowadays, it's more about the sport that is life, right? And to be able to have a great life, in order to have the best life, you have to have your health. Because I'll tell you what, if you lose your health, everything else sucks. I don't care how much money you have. I don't care how good your relationship is. All that stuff is going to suffer if you don't take care of yourself, right? So it's so important that you make the effort, that you change who you are as a person and adopt this, we'll call it the athlete lifestyle, right? Adopt this athlete lifestyle. When my clients tell me about their wins, the first thing I do is I hashtag athlete life, right? That's and the challenges are different at 40 or 50 or 60 than they are at 15 and 20 and 25, right? We change the definition of athlete a little bit, just as someone who really values our health and our well-being, so that we can have a great opportunity in our life. We can take advantage of all the opportunities that are available to us in all areas of our life, right? In business, in relationships, in impacting the world in a greater way. It's one of the reasons I'm here with you today. I figure, man, I went down this journey, and a lot of folks will call it the hero's journey, although I don't feel like a hero. It's what I had to do, right? And you go through these journeys and you go through these struggles, and it gives you some clarity, and it gives you, at least for me, it gives you some reason for being, right? More so than just selfish. It allows me to be here with you. It allows me to help others, to be able to shine the light and be the light for people who are struggling. You know, there is a better way, and that's what I've been doing. So here I am. If you'd like my help, learn more about Athletic After 40, just hit me up with a message. Happy to help you. You know, we'll discuss kind of where you're at with things and see where you need to focus on in order to get yourself on the right track. All right. Hope you're well, and maybe we'll talk soon.